Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Leilui Nishmat Mordechai from Shelemah Fortcham to the best Reb Eli, Shlita. Maisa, this is a typical RBS kid, half American, half Israeli, kind of. Something small to express our deep appreciation we have to you in all of MDY. You continue encouragement not to give up, even when missing a day, gives us a push to continue and catch up. We're zoich to finish a few mesechtas together. It's a bacher who goes every single day to yeshiva, and before yeshiva, he comes here to the shir every single day. We look back and remember the fun geschmack that we had. Can't wait for the next shir, the next day, the next daf. The next time we stand proud and finish yet another mesechta together with Reb Eli and MDY. Thank you for all the investment, all Klal Yisrael. Shlomi now your fortune. Shlomi your Talmud from Tainas Daf Ches, and Aryeh your Talmud from Soita Daf Beis. Rabbi said, listen to this. This is a special one for you, Noam. I just turned 50 years old, and I don't think I've ever learned so much Gemara in my life like I've had in the past few months. I was so excited when you came to New York and went to Bar Park, Motzei Shabbos. It was amazing to do with so many different types of people with the same goal, just to learn a daf. I only wish I had someone like yourself teaching me Gemara starting 6th grade. I know I can't turn back time, so I'll focus on going forward. I'm trying my best not just do the daf in the morning, but second daf in that different Gemara in the evening. I might not understand all the concepts every day, but with a clear explanation and diagrams, I'm learning so many ideas HaShas. I love what you do in Motzei Shabbos, with the week's ideas HaShas. As I said, I just turned 40. My bar mitzvah Parshas Re'eh. All these years, I've never understood much of it. However, like you say, it's a kiss from Hashem. This past week, David, so many concepts of Avodim. Mir Hashem, I'm planning to come to Eretz Yisrael. B'kitzer, looking forward to meeting you and thanking you in person. Lastly, if you can, there's someone in Yeshir that I see on video every day, and I haven't seen this friend for over 20 years. He's amazing, wonderful mensch of a person. He is. Tremendous mensch. If you're a mensch, please stand up. Perhaps. If there's anybody that agrees that those two people I mentioned, please stand up. That's what I thought. Haven't seen him since we grew up together in Queens. Please give him my email address. I can reach out to him. Thank you. His name is Noam Fix. Thank you. Eric Schwartz. Oh. Mendel Lerner. Wow, thanks Reb Eli, the warm welcome yesterday's shir. Letting the Zoom people take part in this shir, live shir. Acknowledge you guys interact with the chevra. If you will include the Zoom chevra, I'm certain that it'll outgrow its limits of the 400 goal we spoke about. Don't forget, the Beis HaMedrash is packed already till it brings. Until expansion and renovations, the shir will grow, Mr. Shem. The only reason I'm still with the shir is the commitment to being on Zoom every night from 12:15 a.m. to 1:15 New York time. That's the issue. The issue is the time. Not everybody likes to be up to 1:15. I even push myself every night to stay on the shir to hear a good word from you. Now, Rabbi, listen to this. Just as an example of how your encouragement influences us, last year, this time of the year, you challenged us with 2 ideas. Doing the entire Shnai Mikra every week, doing Chazar, especially when flying on planes. The Gemara that we learned in the past. Started as an initiative for Avraham as Refuah. He's not with us anymore. Surely you have a chizik to push forward. We should do it again. L'schus our other members in Chevra that need our support. It's a year since then. I can speak for myself. I, Baruch Hashem, accomplished a lot in those 2 items. All because of your encouragement at Slacha, the Beis HaKodesh, you're doing your Talmud since Yivames, Daf Beis, Mendel Lerner. So, we have to start talking about it today. A lot of people started doing Shnai Mikra of Echad Targum because of this push, and our dear friend Meran Nakash gave a Shnai Mikra Chumash to whoever joined then, and for many people it's been the first year that they started. Now, similar to Masechtas Yivamis, the hardest daf of Yivamis is Daf Beis. And a lot of people, they do Daf Beis and they go, whoa, I can't do this Masechta. The first parsha in the Torah is probably the hardest, most difficult parsha to do it. You start it after Simchas Torah, which is usually, I don't know, this year what's maybe on the Shabbos, you have a full week. But it's just a very difficult, long parasha, and people want to do it with Rashi and Fregnish, and the kids, they fall off the bandwagon before the Torah even starts. It might be a good idea to start today, this week. Yeah, not today, on Sunday. Sunday, small, a short little parasha. What? The close is good, why not? On the second anniversary of my starting the daf with MDY, since the beginning of Beit, I'm writing to express Hakarat Tov and my gratitude to you and your team. Thank you for inspirational shiur, brilliant charts, and infectious energy. I've completed 12 mesechtas and have not missed a day, even when I cannot access the shiur. On Chagim, you have motivated me sufficiently to have prepared text printed out in advance of the day to do a double afterwards. Even on holiday recently in the remote English countryside, MDY has inspired me to do the daf every day. See photo below. Yasher koichem to you and all your team, and thank you for encouraging global learning of Torah. Kind regards, Kol Tov, Ksiva v'chatima tova, Dr. Alan Shaw, the retired head teacher from London. Yeah? You know him? After your time. He's a very special man, says Yosef. He was your teacher? You think?
Must have left an impression. That was his name.
Dr. Alan Shaw. That was his name. Dear Reb Eli, I want to first thank you for all that you do. I look forward to listening and learning with you every day. Baruch Hashem, yesterday, I had the opportunity to join your shir in person. I felt bad after shir. I didn't call him out. A lot of times I forget to call people out, which was a true geschmack. After the shir, I asked someone how far from Eretz Chaim we were. Standing right there was Tani Pollack, who kindly offered me a ride. So Tani came back and picked him up, even though he wasn't planning on going there, for which I was very thankful. This is another great example. How far away is Beis Chaim? It's like at least 10 minutes. It's more like 12, 15 minutes, no? So he took like 45 minutes of his time to do a chesed with somebody. This is another great example of true achdus of chesed that came about through learning the daf. Also, Hashgacha Pratis. During the ride, I learned that Tani works with my brother-in-law in the States. Thanks for bringing all Yidden together, like one family, attached picture of the two of us. Your Talmud said, Shkolim, Yankee Wolf, Long Meadow, Massachusetts. The koilel of the month, we merit to crown Hashem, the koilel of the day, no text. Mazel Omer, I don't know what that means. Mesechta, huh? Oh, somebody sponsored the koilel of the day with no words. Okay, good. A true anonymous. Mesechta is sponsored by Lakewood NJ families, Lakewood New Jersey, because torah and achdus are the best segula. Parnas achodesh leilui Nishmat, Avraham, Albert, Levi, Ester, and Gavriel, Beniyaminov. What happened to our dear friend Reb נחman Seltzer? The Shev Brachas knocked him out. The Chasana knew. The Shev Brachas. The Parnas achodesh in honor of Reb Eli's Siyum HaShas and all them wires. Parnas achodesh leilui Nishmat Zechariah ben Moshe. Parnas achodesh Rochel bas Leba for Refuah Shelemah b'Karav. Amen. Parnas achodesh leilui Nishmat Zechariah bas Yosef and Shelemah Shel ben Aliyah. Parnas hayoim leilui Nishmat Reb נחman ben Reb Yosef. No relation, maybe. Parnas hayoim Joel Ezoory in memory of my wife leora tova bat rachamim aleh shalom, and as a schus for our kids. Wow, that's a tough one. In memory of my wife leora tova bat rachamim aleh shalom. I'm assuming a young person, and as a schus for our kids. For Refuah Shelemah, for Shira bas Chemda and Avraham ben Ester and Yosef Nisim ben Ester. Refuah Shelemah b'Korov. And Menachem Mendel Chaim Ben Mirel. Mendy's sending in the $180. But Korov, the art of the month, Yosef ben Chayas Sarah, for all the schusim that come from supporting Nishmat Torah. And Rabbi Isai has been on the website for a while. And finally, we got him. The MDY headquarter coffee corner and beverage for the week. It's only $1,000. Vladislav, I'm not joking, Vladislav Zakar of Refuah Shelemah for Shira, Sarah, Bas, Shoshana. All of you benefited today from his coffee. Say shkoyach. All right, very good. So everybody's holding on Daf Yomi Amud Beis, a little bit of the middle of a sugya. Vladislav Zakharov. There's no hot coffee, hot chocolate, says Dr. Avi Factor. You have to send him back some money. Or you have to give him another day next week. Okay, Be'ezer Hashem, Dr. Avi Factor is sponsoring the hot cocoa for the month. Maskim, $1,200. $1,200. Rabbi Isai, so we're in the middle of a sugya. We have a shaila. Where do you get a bike from, Dr. Factor? No, bikes. B3 bikes in Lakewood. Doesn't pay.
Levi gets his chair from.
Rabbi, does Yud create Erusin or Nesuin? That was the shiloh we had yesterday. Person sells his daughter as an Amma Ivriya. The owner, the master, has the right to marry her, Yud, or to give her over to the son. What do you think about this pshat? Think about this pshat for a second. Don't go crazy on it right away. I know no one's going to love it. What's pshat in Yud? Maybe, perhaps, the Shin time of the crow. What's pshat in Yud? Why would the Torah say, sell her for Amma, and you get to marry her? What's shaykhis? Selling for Amma. Maybe. The guy needs his money. Why is he selling his daughter? He fell into some hard times. He needs some money. So the Torah is telling us, you have options here. You could sell it for a lot of money, sell it to that family, sell it for less money to this family. But that family, they have some bad things going on there. They have some kids that are meshuga. They have a father that's a shtickle this, a shtickle that. Sell it to the menschlich house over there. And what's going to encourage you? Because you should know that your daughter might end up with that guy, and that guy's going to be your son-in-law. Do you want that guy to be your son-in-law? The guy driving around in the convertible, Ferrari, whatever, in Michigan, the hotshot? Or do you want you'll take less money, but that guy, maybe. You like it, huh? I know you're going to like it. Okay. Put it in the safer. Huh? Huh? Exactly. Protects you in Ruchnius. All right. So, how do we know? What do we do? Is Yud Nesuin or Nin Erusin? So, Gemara said a very interesting thing. And Lakewood NJ, we made a chart for it. The Gemara says there's a case where a father sells his daughter who's an almana. He sells his daughter as a Amivriya, even though she's a widow. So proves that Yud is Erusin. How? So it goes like this. Here's the Moicher Av Bitoy Alman Kohen Gadol. That's the case. Now, if she was married before and she lost her husband, that's impossible. That's an X. Impossible. Why? Because once she gets married, the father has zero reshus over her. He can't do anything. He can't marry her off. He can't sell her. He can't marry her. That's it. Once she's married, binisuin. Let's say it was only Erusin. She got engaged. Well, we learned there's no shivchus achar ishus. No shivchus achar ishus. So even if she only got engaged, you can't sell her. You can't. That was yesterday. Big day above Beged. Can't sell her after there's shivchus. Now, what we're going to do soon is we're going to change this. The Erusin, you could sell her. It goes according to the Man Omar, you could sell her. But according to the Man Omar, that you can't sell her after Erusin. So it can't be that we're talking about a case where a father sells his daughter who's a widow to somebody, because even though if she's only in stage 1, you still can't sell her. So how is it possible that the father sold his daughter who's an almana? The only Eitzer Aboisai is after Yud. He sold his daughter as an amma. And the guy that bought her said, Hared miyuedesli bekesef v'knosech. And then he dropped dead, he dies. So the father went ahead and sold her again. She was an almana from Yud, and he sold her. Now wait a minute, the Gemara stops. What are we talking about? What does Yud do? If Yud creates a full nisuin, a full-fledged nisuin, how could the father sell her? She's a full-fledged married woman. The husband yarshins her, made from the darim, everything. So it's impossible. Elamai, you must be talking about Yud, and Yud only creates a erusin, and that's the case of a father selling his daughter as a widow. That's the whole raya. Now let's see inside. We'll start like somewhere in the middle here. We're talking about the third option. Oh, sorry, you're right. I should tell people. 10 lines. It's always 10 lines. Even if it's 11, it's 10 lines from the bottom. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 lines from the bottom. From Yudchesam the base. So you see, it says in the box, Mois or Rishonis Lav the Kiddushin, in the Yud box. That what? We're going to see soon a Machloikis. We could show it over here also. Why not? There's a Shaila. When the father, the guy on the right, is selling his daughter in the middle to the guy on the left, when he received the money, is that the money towards the Kiddushin, the eventual Kiddushin that might happen, or not. Or the Kiddushin takes place at the time that he wants to marry her. So she's working for him for 5 years, and then, without giving her money, he gets engaged to her, or marries her, but it wasn't with the money that he purchased her. Rather, since this girl has to work another year, so he tells her, listen, I'm going to be moichel you don't have to work for me for another year, and with that anah, you get married. So it's Motzei Rishon, it's lav the Kiddushin itnu. So, says the Gemara, we're going to go according to the Manda Omar, we're going to talk about it a little bit more today. It goes according to this shita. That what? The Omar Motzei Rishon is lav the Kiddushin itnu. The father never received Kiddushin. He's not involved. So if he's not involved, therefore, he could sell her again. He was never Mekadesh her. The fact that she married that master has nothing to do with the father. That was her own thing. However, it must be that Yud only creates Eris in stage 1, not stage 2 of Nisun. Because if it creates stage 2, that's Pasha that if she gets married, she's married and finished. The father can't sell her again. So what's the case of her selling her to Kohen Gadol? So you tell me no. That it's Erison, that's what we want to prove. We want to prove that Yud creates Erison. Vishavin, and everybody agrees that everybody holds Shemoichra. Wait a minute. Everybody agrees that after Erison you could sell, but a person cannot sell his daughter as a Shivcha after Ishus, even Erison. So you're going to say no. When it comes to Yud, it's different than what we learned that a father cannot sell his daughter, even if she got engaged, that's it. He's cut off. He can't sell her anymore. But maybe the Erison of Yud is different. When the father had nothing to do with it, she got engaged on her own, and she's a katana. It's different. And when she got engaged by herself, and then her husband dies, then the father could sell her again. Afilu Teima says the Gemara, but even Afilu Teima is Sunoisa, but even if you say that Yud creates a full-fledged marriage, say the same exact svara. You just said, we could differentiate between Erison that happened through the father and Erison that she did. So say the same thing. Let's differentiate between Nisuin that happened on her own and Nisuin that happened from her father. Afilu Teima Nisunoisa, Shani Nisun Didom Nisun Dovia. Perhaps, even if she got married to this master, the father could go ahead and sell her. What did you tell me? That once she's completely married, the father has no control over her. Maybe it's not true. Maybe if she got married on her own, then the father does have rishus. So Gemara says, no, that's not good. In other words, the Gemara is saying it's impossible to say that. Once she's married, she's a full-fledged wife. What do I care how she got there? She's 100% a wife. He yarshins her. He's matamet her. He's made for her nidarim. So yes, she did it on her own. It's different than when he married her off. So what? But she's a full-fledged. But Erison is different. Erison, nothing happened. She accepted Erison, and maybe it's different when she accepts to when the father accepts. Fine. So that's one pshat. That's we're trying. Maybe that's the pshat over here, that the case of a father selling his widowed daughter is a case that she was sold as a Amma once upon a time, and her master decided to marry her, only Erison, and then he died, and she's considered a widow, and then the father went ahead and sold her. However, whoa. But if you hold, like Rav Nachman, Bar Yitzchak, that when the father, here, this is Motzei Shabbos, lav the Kiddushin itnu, but he holds that the father was involved, the Kiddushin itnu. The father, when he receives the money, in the beginning for her slavery, her servitude, whatever you want to call it, cleaning lady this? She's not a chassidon, she's a amma, not a shivcha. A what? Yeah, whatever. So you'll say that the money was for Kiddushin. And if it was for Kiddushin, then the father's involved. If the father's involved, then you can't make a chiluk. Oh, this is an Erison that happened by her, and this is an Erison that happened by him, and the Erison that happened by her. He has rishus to continue selling her. No, it wasn't her. It was him, and it was him. Shuv, it's shivchus acher ishus, right? Let's go back to this thing for a second. Show here. If this is, we said it's yud, and if it's Erison, the center one, It's impossible. Why? Because once he is Mekadisher Be'erusin, he can't sell her as a Shivcha. But Yud, he wasn't Mekadisher. She did it herself. But according to this man, the Omer, he was Mekadisher. So now you're back to square one, you're back to Erusin. That's mamish like Erusin. So what do you gain here? What is the case that a father sold his widowed daughter? Mukim Lo says the Gemara. Now check this out. We have to go to this. Look what happens to Erusin now. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Erusin, there's a check mark. Now it works. Why? Mukim Lo Reb Eliezer, the Amar l'shivchos, the Amar l'shivchos, achar shivchos, hu deloi motzei mezabin la. The only time you can't do something is when you're trying to sell your daughter as another Amma after she left her first job. She worked for 6 years, let's say from the age of 3 to 9, and then you try to sell her again. That you can't do. But if she was just engaged, Motzei mezabin la. So Nachamal, what's the Gemara's question was, what's the case of a father selling his daughter as an almana? He engaged her. It doesn't matter. He accepted Kiddushin, and later on, and then her husband died, and he sold her. But now we don't have a raya about Yud. The whole point of this whole sugi was, does Yud make Erusin? Yud doesn't soon. We're not even talking about Yud. We're talking about regular Erusin now. Fine, brand new sugi, a boisai. We could wake up and do a brand new sugi. Seriously, if a guy started HaShas today, is there a problem? Does he have to start on brachas Daf Beis? Look, brand new sugya, as if you don't need to know anything from before. Just what does Yud mean? The Torah says that a father, the master, is miyader, and v'im livnoya adena. He could also give her over to his own son. But how old does the son have to be? Does he have to be a gadol or not? Now, B'nai Amar Achmana B'nai Kodu, it means any age. Or Dilma B'nai Dumi Didei, Mad Hu Gadol, just like the master is a Gadol, B'nai Gadol. Amar B'zer Tashma Ish Prat Lekatan. So it goes like this. A Katan who's 9 years old, his Bia is a Bia, Lekol Davar. However, a Katan doesn't have the ability to acquire anything. He can't make kinyanim. A Katan, even if he finds something in the street, it's not even his. Only with the Rabbanu we make it his. Tikkun oil, whatever. But a Katan can't go to the store and acquire something, right? So he cannot acquire a wife. It's not something he can do. So it says like this. Ish, prat lekatan. Here's the pasuk. V'ish asher yinaf es eshes ish. She's a married woman. Asher yinaf es eshes ish. If you're over on eshes ish, they both die. But it says v'ish. That the person, the noyef, has to be an adult. So if you have a 9-year-old kid who's a noyef, he goes with the eshes ish, you don't kill him. Now, why would you think you kill him? He's 9 years old. He's not chayiv in mitzvahs. When do you punish? Since when do we punish a minor? We don't even punish sometimes misa is 20 years old. Like, why would I think that you have to punish? The bia works, but he doesn't have das. He's a little kid. And the bia works of a 1 month old. Let's say you worked in a month. You kill a 1 month old. He doesn't have das. Says Taisves that I would think that he's like a behema. That a behema that was nirva to a woman, you killed the behema. Why? The people shouldn't be bizayin. Look, this animal. So I would have a havamina that you'd kill this kid because the takala came out through this kid. Stop. As a side note. Okay. But the continuation is Asher Yinaf es Eshes Ish. Prat le'eshes katan. What happens if a minor is married to a gedola and somebody had relations with that gedola? Okay, she was over on Eshes Ish. Her husband is 9 years old. Is she what?
How did he marry her?
What's the problem? Oh, that's the whole sugya. That's the whole sugya. Your cash is the sugya. But before we get to your question, he wants to know, how did a 9-year-old marry her? There's no kinyanim. Very good. That's the whole point. And the answer is going to be Yiyud. Yiyud, where he doesn't have to, his father married him off. So, but let's just stop here for a second. I just want to make a very important point here. Again, you have a couple, she's 25 years old, the husband is 9 years old, and she was mizana, she's not chayiv misa. Why? Because it says Eishes, it's Eishes ish. She has to be the wife of a ish, of a gadol. I have a question. Let's say you have a regular married couple, they're both gdolim, and she was mizana with a 9-year-old. What happens to her? Huh? She gets killed. Why does she get killed? Very good. So they're all saying here that she gets killed because biyasei biyah. That's very important to know. Just the other way around. If she's married to a 9-year-old, then it's not considered a marriage because he's 9 years old, so she's not Eishes ish. But if she's a real full-fledged Eishes ish and she has relations with a 9-year-old, since it's biyah is a biyah, I just want to point that out so we understand what's going on here. Yeah? Okay. Now, ask the Gemara, v'amris miyayed. If you say, well, again, what's the question? Rish Lakish asks, can a father take his 9-year-old son and marry him off halachically to his Amar Ivriya? So, it's a murdik shidduch, I don't want to marry a chaper. She's very good in the kitchen. Let's marry them off. So, wait a minute. If you could do yiyud, the father can marry off midoi raisa, because the torah is saying it works in the raisa. So what are you telling me? There's no Eishes ish who's married to a 9-year-old. There is Eishes ish married to a 9-year-old. So you can say no. There's no. I might come in my lekra. If there's no such mitzias of a katan married, so then why does the Torah have to eliminate it? See from here, there's yud. Omer Ravashi. No, I have a great case to answer Judah's question as a possible. So here's the case. I just did it. It's not great because I don't know how to do animation. Never learned, so I had to take an animated piece and flip out Avi Kamiansky for the 9-year-old. But the point is, there's two brothers here. One is a gadol, one is a katan, and the gadol got married, and then bye. So now this katan, who has zika, we call it zika. There's a bond between the katan and his sister-in-law. The Torah makes a bond. They're not married, but they have a bond. The bond is that she can't go and marry whoever she wants. He has to decide whether he wants to do yibum or chalitza. So now the only option that he really has is yibum, biyah. So after biyah, he becomes a full-fledged husband, even though he's only 9 years old. It's different than any other case. Because the kinyan wasn't done through him. The kinyan was done automatically, midiraisa. The Torah made that kinyan. Through that bond. The same since the Torah put them together and his biyah is considered biyah. That's the case that the Torah is trying to eliminate. You would think that if somebody has relations with this Yavama, he's over and ish, and they get misa. Not. At the end of the day, Allah, could a father be miyayed his minor son or not? Toshma. Oh, it says before in the Bride, so no, Yud only works when you're a gadol. That answers the question. And then continues, Ein Yud Elo Medas. You can't be a katan. You have to have das. As the Gemara Tarti, I need to say the same thing twice. You just said it has to be a gadol, meaning he has to have das. Matam ko amar. One pshat is that I'm explaining. Matam Ein Yud Elo Gadol. Why does he have to be gadol? Because Ein Yud Elo Medas. Father can't force the son. Boy say my midas, like you were thinking, midas dida, that she needs to be notified what's going on here, or you need to at least ask her for permission. That's how you can learn now. Midas dida. You have to notify her. According to that, you have to notify her. Excuse me. Abai says it and explains it. There's no das of the father. Typically, if the father accepted Kiddushin all the way in the beginning when he sold his daughter, so you don't need any notification. The father did everything he needs to do. A gadol was involved there. But since the Motzei Shabbos is lav Kiddushin itnu, the father wasn't involved. So now I need to notify this girl. Hey, you're getting married tomorrow. Even if you say that the first money was given Kiddushin, the father was involved, the father did it. At the end of the day, you need her das. You know why? Because the Torah says you need her das. It says that you have to tell her. Okay, it's a chiddush. They have to tell her. My Reb Elchanan Pressman. Now we mentioned him a few times, but what's his halacha? The sanya. Yada v'hevda. It says over here yada v'hevda in the pasuk. Imra beini adonai shelo yada. It says with the aleph. We read lamed with the vav. When you do yiyud, you have to make sure that there's enough time in the day that you could prorate her and get her out like that. You have to be able to do a full pruta. And if you can't do a pruta, again, she worked for 6 years, it's a half hour before her release, and that half hour is not worth a pruta. So if she could say, hey, I have a half hour left, I'm giving you a pruta, let me out a half hour early, then you could do yiyud. But if you can't do pedia, then you can't do yiyud. But what do you see from here? Why do you need money at the end? Why do you need that there should be a pruta left? The father received Kiddushin 6 years ago, a whole bag of money. That's enough. Huh? Yeah, that's what I said. You're on kesef, the proration, the shava kesef. This is not for me what I'm about to say. This is more for Avi Kamiansky and people like him. I'm above and beyond this. But there was a guy, there was a lawyer. No, remind me about me. He's over, not me. Lawyer. His son comes to him and says, "How much do you earn an hour?" He says, "Get out of here." He says, "No, how much do you earn?" He made him a sugar. Finally, the guy says, $200 an hour. $200. Okay. Kid comes back like half hour later with the whole bag. He says, here's $100. Please spend a half hour with me. Now, of course, that's not a get to me. I just like to say this mice is over. Yeah. What? Why? Did you ever try that? Your father spends a lot of time with you. Okay, good. Givaldik. So you see over here, whatever, figure it out. No, if there's a every hour is worth money. How much is it worth? A pruta, not a pruta. But at the end of the day, we should spend more time. Not me. We should spend more time with our kids. It's very, very.
Your learning is priceless.
No, I spend time. I mean, I see them from where I learn. You guys are out working somewhere. So if you look over here, the vehevda goes together with the yada, says the Gemara. It's right there. It's word after word. So the yiyud has to do with the pidyon. You have to be able to do b'diya. You have to be able to do giroyin kesef. Nothing to do with the fact that it's Kiddushin. The Motzei Shabbos is the Kiddushin itnu, not the Kiddushin. Even if Motzei Shabbos is the Kiddushin itnu, I still have to be able to do vehevda. Why? Because the Torah puts them together. Yada vehevda. Omer Rav Nachman. Now the Gemara is going to say 3 halachas. I think it's 3 halachas that we can learn from these words. Omer Rav Nachman says Rav in the name of his Rebbe. You could tell your daughter, let the Rebbeinu Shalom worry about you. Go do your own thing. Without the father involved. Which is a huge chiddush. How in the world could a ketana who doesn't have a yad, can't make kinyanim, how could it work? Okay, so it's different pirushim, how exactly he gave her his koyach and with the Rebbe Elchanan from what we just learned. At the end of the day, the father wasn't involved there. Why? Because when he sold her, he didn't accept any Kiddushin. But at the end, the master was Mekadesh one-on-one with her. He made a deal with her, not with the father. So that's very simple. So you see that the father can just say, go ahead, go be a slave, and if you decide to get engaged in him, get it. It's nothing to do with me. Now, if you read it like this, it needs a lot of explanation. But Tosfos does us a big favor here and explains it beautifully. It's a lot different than what you're thinking. Hamakadosh ben Milva means if a husband owes a woman money, she's a banker, she lent him $1 million, I'm sorry, he lent her $1 million, and he says, I'm going to be moichel you this chayv. With that hana, not with the chayv, because we said already, milva lo yitzanit no. With the hana that you have right now, that you don't have to pay me back, with that you're mekudesh. But it says over here, there's a mashkin. Well, what's the kesher? So Taisa says, the mashkin is a detriment. It ruins it. That even though there's a mashkin that he didn't return, then, even so, mekudeshes. Okay, that's the nekuda here. Okay, it's a little confusing, but the bottom line is, milva, if he says bahana of the milva, then I'm moichel mekudesh. The Yehuda, how do I know? Lav Amar Yehuda Motzei Shabbos Lav the Kiddushin it no. The beginning when he says, when he buys the amma, it has nothing to do with the Kiddushin. And what? Hayalvaihi. This that she has to work for him, it's like a loan. She owes him money. She owes him work. She has to work for 6 years. Be gufa mashkinhi, and her body, she herself, is collateral. And when he says you don't have to work for a whole pruta's worth, umiyad, and he says whatever the lashon is, have a kiddushin. When a person is moichel a chayiv, in that hana, she's mekadosh herself to him.
Is it because of the mashkin or the halva?
I said the opposite. It's 100% the halva. The mashkin is just a detriment. Forget the mashkin now. The mashkin was just to trip you up. It's not. That's what Taisa says. The mashkin is bad, not good. In honor of my uncle Reb Elchanan Pressman, and as a schuz for a year filled with mazel bracha parnos berevach, and by Greg Haber bracha parnos atzlocha brios for his family, Reb Eli, all MDY, and everyone doing the daf. Torah. Ketzah mitzvahs yud. How does it work? You say in front of two Eidim, you are Mekudesh, you don't have to give her any money. Either we hold that Motzei Shabbos the Kiddushin, he already gave her money to the father, or he's being Mochel now the work. Even after 6 years, all the way at the end of the 6 years, not at the end, but tail end. Even though it's like 2 minutes before then. You don't say, do the dishes, you say, please, could you do the dishes? Oh, you want me to do it? Okay, fine, whatever, however it works. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, if there's enough to prorate one pruta, then it's good. And then, if not, it doesn't work. Mashal. What does mashal mean? Says Rashi, from here you could learn. It's similar to our case. That the father, she's becoming an amma. And it starts today and ends at the end of 6 years. In other words, at the end of 6 years, he decides, I want to marry her. Same thing when a person tells a regular woman in the street, I want to marry you, from now, I'll decide in 30 days. And then another person jumped in, it was Mekadesher, nobody has the right to be Mekadesher. Why? Because it's retroactive from now. Says Gemara, Mashal Aman, well, where did you get this from? Very, very simple, just a lot of words here. Mashal Aman, it can't be that Rabbi Yehuda is saying this. Why? Rabbi Yehuda says that it's not mi'achshav, it's not retroactive. It works whenever he decides to marry her, it works from that moment and further. He's taking the last pruta and he's being kasher with that she doesn't have to work. So Meila, that even though there's nothing left, there's no pruta, but you go with the money retroactive. It's ma'achshav, the Kiddushin goes retroactively with the money that he purchased her all the way in the beginning 6 years before. So Meila, when a person says, I'm a kasher from today, it could work all the way at the end. He could decide in 6 years from now to marry her based on the words that he said 6 years before. And if somebody comes in the middle, it's not a good Kiddushin. Says Gemara Pshita, but according to Rabbanan, it's Pasha that it goes mi'achshav. Mal the same haloi omar le mi'achshav. In Yud, he never said the words mi'achshav. So Mela, I would think that in Kiddushin, even without the words mi'achshav, but Yud it works, right? Yud works. How does it work? Mi'achshav. Every Yud works the same way. You don't have to say the words mi'achshav. It's the money that the guy gave all the way in the beginning works retroactive. So I think by Kiddushin also, you don't have to say the words mi'achshav. It works retroactively even without saying mi'achshav. No, Kamash Malon, you have to say mi'achshav by Kiddushin. It doesn't work without it. By Yud, it works without saying, because that's what the Torah told us to do. But not in regular Kiddushin. Tanya Yidach. Another halacha. Hamoiches bitoy v'alach v'kitchel acher. This guy is mamish busy making money. First he sells her. Then a minute later, he accepts a ring for her. Sichik ba'adoin. He played a game with the guy that he sold her. He tricked him. Umukudeshes lasheni. She's makudesh to the second person. That's according to Reb Yehuda. Why? So think about it. Reb Yehuda is the one that says that she doesn't go work. It doesn't work retroactive. It works whenever you decide to marry her. The master decides to marry her. That's when it works. So if anybody jumps in beforehand, it's makudesh to that person. Because yid works limafreya. So I don't care how many people jumped in the middle. He had first dibs. He's miyad limafreya. It works from the day that he bought her. Mashal, from here you can learn a regular case of Kiddushin, if somebody says without the word me'achshav, he says, you are mekudesh to me in 30 days. That's similar to our case over here, no? That he said, you're mekudesh to me after 30 days. In other words, according to who? Rabbi Isai? This is Rabbi Yehuda that says it works at the end. Not like Rabbanan that say that it works retroactive. Mashal Aman, Mashal Aman, very simple. According to Rabbanan, it works retroactive. So it can't be Rabbanan. That he says it works all the way at the tail end. Whenever he decides to marry, that's when he'll marry. Pshita, what's the Kiddush here? Maybe Dafke Yud, we didn't say Hiskachi after 30 days. But in Kiddushin, that he did say, in a case of Kiddushin where he says, it's Keilu. It's a little tricky. In Kiddushin where he does say, in a case where he says, maybe it's as if he said, it should work in Kiddushin retroactively. Kamashmalon it doesn't. Tanya Yidach. Very simple sugya. A guy, what is this called, Rabbi Isai? A guy says, it says in the Torah you can do yiyud. I don't want you to marry my daughter. You're a terrible guy. You could be a master. I don't want you to marry her. Says the Gemara, it works. That's you saw it in Shas that you cannot be masna mashukos b'Torah. V'chol masna mashukos b'Torah t'noi bottle. Like the famous Maisa with the Reb Elchanan that a bacher came to him and said, "Listen, when I went to yeshiva, the yeshiva said we have a rule here. You cannot get engaged in this and this shir up until this age. I want to get engaged." Reb Elchanan said, "He's masna mashukos b'Torah. You mechuyev to get married when you're 18." So the Rosh Yeshiva didn't have a right to tell you when to get engaged, not again, even though you're makabeling yourself. This, it's not at night. T'noi bottle. That's the famous thing. Reb Kanevsky's mishpach, they all get married when they're 18. What? No, his grandsons always did that, but this was a story that he made at night. It says, you can't have a smartphone, you can't get married when you're 16, the whole thing, he signed off on it. Oh, what? Remeir argues on this idea that of Masam Mashukos B'Torah. If a person gets married, regular marriage, and he tells his wife, I'm not giving you what it says in the Torah. I'm not giving you support, I'm not giving you clothing, I'm not giving you relations. It doesn't, we disregard what he says. It's a good Kiddushin with no bottle. They're a mayor. So you see, Reb Meir says, Masha Masakos B'Torah, no bottle. Reb Yehuda says that it works. In other words, part of it works, part of it doesn't. What the part that's mumminess, sharing, sus, support and clothing, that you can be moichel, but you can't be moichel. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if I had this Rosh Yeshiva. It just seems like I heard this 25 times. Like, ich bin Meichel. Für sich bin ich Meichel. Ich bin nicht Meichel auf Kovnatere. Kovnatere bin ich Meichel. Wie kann ich... Als Kovnatere Pastor kann ich nicht. Yeah, no? You don't know what I'm talking about? You look at me like... I'm not Meichel. I'm not about Gaiva. Chas v'shalom, me. Of course I'm Meichel. But what you did is a begin... Yesh l'chalik. In other words, mom in his part, that you can be Meichel. But the state in Teira, the Isurim, that you can't do. Okay. Says the Gemara, Le'ama. There's a special lashon in the Torah. Why does Reb Meir say that you could make a t'nai against the Torah? Because it's not a t'nai against the Torah. It says in the Torah that you could sell her just as a amma and not as a wife. Leoma. No, but it says in the Torah lama. Even though you can't be miyayid, the apostle, mamzer, and the nasin, you could sell. Validinu. In mekachel psulim, you could be mekadosh. Yeah. Why? Because Kiddushin is taifes b'chayv elav. So even though it's also to marry a mamzer, it's also. You get an isser lav. You don't get misa for it. So since there's an isser lav, the Kiddushin grabs. It's a good Kiddushin. Certainly you should be able to sell her to apostle. And on that the Torah says, no, you can't. Sorry, you could. But the Gemara says, she can order mekadosh bitoy shinara. So the Gemara says, we have to make a distinction here. A person could be mekadesh's daughter. He has a lot of power in being mekadesh's daughter. Even though she's 12 and she has simanim. She's a naira, you could still be mekadesh her. But that we already had this kavachaymer. It's pashat. If a girl goes out of slavery, of amma, whatever you want to call it, servitude. If she's a amma and she goes out when she's a naira, so how could you sell her when she's a naira? She's already out. If she's working for somebody and she turns into a naira, she goes free. So if she's already a naira, how could her father even sell her? She'd go free on the first second. So in Mela, you see that he's weak when it comes to selling. He's very strong when it comes to be Mekadesh's daughter, because he can be Mekadesh's daughter when she's an naira, but he can't sell her when she's an naira. You could sell her to somebody that's possible. Should we finish here? Okay, we'll finish over here. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Motzei Shabbos, Menachem, 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock, Motzei Shabbos, gewaldig.